everyone, and welcome to Positive by Design. Good people talking about real shit and easy to implement success methods. Hosted by Social Jane Media, brought to you by yours truly, Sarah Glenn. I am the creator and CEO of Social Jane Media, a certified social media marketing expert and the branding specialist that many entrepreneurs turn to. If you're looking for inspiration from other entrepreneurs and high-vibing humans, you're in the right place. So settle in, get comfy, and let's get started. In today's episode, we're talking with Jessica Perry. Jessica is a high-performance coach helping women in business maximize productivity, minimize stress, and create the life they truly desire. She's also very passionate about helping women become their very best selves through beauty, wellness, and mindset coaching. Jessica, I'm super excited to have you here today. Please, will you share a little about yourself and how you came to be an entrepreneur?
Well, thank you so much for having me. This is an honor. So funny story, I always kind of knew that I wanted to be in business, but wasn't sure how. So I went to school for marketing and business. I thought I was going to be traveling the world and ended up in retail. And, some of us don't know what we want to be until we figure it out, right? So I kind of always wanted to be a psychiatrist, but I didn't want to go back to school for it. So it kind of just came to a head a couple years ago when I was just I'm not living the life I really want. And I was in that mindset of okay, this is just the cards I was dealt. This is my life. This is how it's going to be. And that's just it. Just deal with it. Kind of found myself going through the motions in life. And one day woke up and I was just kind of no, why? I have a chance to start over, during the whole pandemic. It started right, but during that. And I was just this is my opportunity. This is a sign that everything I've been thinking up to this point where I know I'm meant for more and something is going to happen where I start over. This is my opportunity. So that's kind of when I jumped into direct sales. I started watching all the coachings and trainings and reading books and just educating myself on how to succeed in that business. And, I kind of realized just because you're really good at something doesn't mean that that's what you have to do with your life. You can get really good at something if you're really passionate about it. And then, you can make it happen. So I was always in the mindset of, it is what it is, and just very cynical and all that meditation and motivation is nonsense, and then I got in the coaching space and I realized, well, I'm investing in myself and realizing and getting my own mindset coaching of no, it doesn't have to be like that. So just think outside the box and just kind of it's okay to fail. It's okay to try things and not be good at it and then keep trying if you love it, or just to stop doing that and do something else and just go with it. Just pivot in life.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm with you when it comes to having always sort of been inside of just thinking inside of the box, right? I feel like I lived 30 some odd years just in the box. And it wasn't that I wasn't, it wasn't that I was afraid to think outside of the box. It's almost like I didn't even know what that looked like until I started to expose myself to other entrepreneurs and started to expand my mind to really see the possibilities. And I think that's so many of us that we maybe don't even know what's possible for ourselves because we're so used to being told this is the only thing that you can expect out of life. This is what your parents did, so this is what you have to do. And it's just so limiting that, people place these beliefs on each other. And it's exciting to meet other people that have found that realization at whatever stage of life, because it is never too late to start over and to find your passion.
Exactly. And the thing I'm finding too is obviously, not that I surrounded myself with people that, weren't, but I would give people the opportunity to, get a second, third, fourth chance instead of just realizing, what, maybe this person's not meant to be in my space. I need to protect my space and, elevate my mindset. And I don't want to be dragged down. If I'm surrounding myself with constantly people that are negative or hate their lives or, aren't motivated, then that's going to kind of fall over into my space. And I knew I was meant for more. So I kind of just had to delete some people off of my feed, out of my life, and just really decide who do I want to be? You can be anyone you want to be. It doesn't matter what you grew up thinking. And for me, it was my mom was, at one point mentioned to me, oh, you don't have the body to to be a dancer when I was younger. Oh, you don't have you don't have the personality to be an actress, like, because I flopped on stage once when I was auditioning once, instead of being like, keep going. If this is something you really love, like you'll get it better next time, and she was just protecting me and doing what she thought was best. But, I think it's so important that we start at a younger age teaching kids this mindset thing, because you can decide who you want to be. You don't have to be, I always caught myself saying, well, yeah, I'm not that kind of person, or that's not for me. Why is that not for me? If I want it to be for me, it could be for me,
Hmm.
So if people just are so automatic to give that response of, oh, that's not the kind of person I am, or that's not for me, or I don't do those kinds of things. Like, when in reality, like, you're just responding on auto because you have all these ingrained beliefs, to your point, that you're just like, okay, well, that's not who I am. Well, why not? Because you created the story about yourself and you're keeping yourself inside that box. And it took
Yeah.
me till I was 38 years old to realize that, but
Yeah.
I did. So
Well, and
it's a good part.
that's the fantastic part. Yeah, it's never too late to figure that out for yourself. And I think too, there's actually some benefit to being, having experienced more of life when you come to that realization, because there's so much wisdom around the experiences you've had in the past. And now you can sort of reframe them to really see them as the learning opportunities that they were, when maybe when it was happening to you, when you were right in the moment, it probably didn't feel that way, right? Any kind of
Right.
traumatic events, you're like, yeah, didn't feel like a learning opportunity. It really felt like it totally sucked.
Yeah.
But now we can look back and we can see those things for what they truly were, and pat ourselves on the back and be like, you freaking got through that. And now you're leveling up even more and just expanding your consciousness. It's so exciting.
Yeah.
Um, so I wanted to kind of ask you, how did you pivot from that life of just sort of going through the motions to now deciding like this is for me and I'm taking this?
Well, it was a leap of faith, to be honest. But to your point, like, I got educated along the way. And when I was younger, I used to like go after different opportunities. Like, I thought I wanted to be a pharma sales rep. So I tried that for like a couple weeks, and I was like, no, love the cold calling and like waiting for doctors. And that just gives me the icky feeling.
Yeah.
And I went back to school to become a child psychologist, and it just didn't work out with my schedule. So like, after a while, I stopped telling people what I was doing, because I was like, I'm just a failure. Like, I'm just
Mhm.
keep going into these projects and stopping them. But in the back of my mind, I was like, I don't think I'm a failure. Like, I know I'm a smart girl. I know I'm super intelligent and I'm good at what I do. But there's more behind it. And how do I, kind of break out of that to, um, show people, like, it's okay to try things and fail. How do you know that you like something unless you try it? Right. So like, that's what kills me, is like when people go to college, it's like, oh, what are you going to college for? I don't know. Like, I'm 18. I didn't experience anything yet. Like, how do I know that just because I say I want to be like, a dentist, when I go to be a dentist, maybe I don't like it?
Yeah.
So you're going to try something new. So we need to stop shaming people for like stopping and trying new things, because it's not
Yes.
them constantly moving in different directions or company hopping, or there's no negative connotation around trying there's a difference between being spammy and just trying to make money and going from company to company, and from people who genuinely want to make something of their lives, and they're trying different things to feel what feels good. And so for
Yeah.
me, the pivot was just making that decision to jump in and go along for the ride, and whatever happens happens.
Okay.
Ooh.
Are we
Okay,
back?
I was like, what just happened?
I don't know. Internet's funky.
Okay.
Such as life. We're live. So,
Right. Mhm.
Um,
It happens.
I really love that point you're making, though, that why are we shaming people for figuring out what they're passionate about? Like, I am so with you. I remember being 18 years old and having to, choose my major. And I'm thinking, what the heck? Like, why is there so much stress and importance
Pressure.
placed on this one decision when it's like, I don't I don't know if this is what I want for my life. And when I decided to actually stop going to college, oh, that was a big conversation in my
Oh yeah, I'm
family.
sure that was frowned upon.
Oh yeah, they're like, you're the first one to ever go to college in our family. Why on earth would you quit? You got in at like top of your class, and I'm like, it's not for me.
Right.
I'm to the point where I am feeling like all I am doing is getting in debt and I'm not figuring out my life. I need to remove myself from like the grind of going to school so I can figure out what actually building an adult life looks like. And
Absolutely.
I'm going to make mistakes and I'm going to make minimum wage and it's just going to be what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Um,
But it evolves. And the thing is,
exactly.
yeah, you just sometimes even now I have to step away and just like be quiet for a couple days and not do anything on social or answer email. Like I just need that quiet space to kind of figure out what's my next move, or like if life gets too crazy, it's okay to take a step away. And like to your point, yeah, that's like the typical thing is like you go to school, you get a good job, you get good grades, you get married, you get a house. Like there's a progression of things that we were always taught is like the way to live life. And now I just think it's important we teach people do what you want.
Yeah. We cut out a little bit. I'll
That's
see if I
okay.
can splice it. Yeah, the internet connection. So, yeah, I mean, I'm totally with you. And I love that you're advocating for that. Like, figure out some life stuff.
No, we're frozen. Uh-oh, my cat is here playing with the wires. Stop playing with the wires.
Okay.
Hi.
It keeps going
And we're
out.
back.
I don't know. I've got construction going on around the way,
Oh,
so
that's
maybe
okay.
that's what
Probably
it
why.
is.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess as we move on from that, making that pivot, how do you kind of in your day to day, how do you sort of overcome that fear of making that choice? Like, I'm going to create something exciting for myself, something new. How do you move past that, like those
Well, to be
ingrained
honest, I
fears?
was always like afraid of judgment and what people thought, like very self-conscious just in general. So like add everything on top of that, in the business world and trying new things, it's a scary thing. So, what I found most helpful is, can you hear me?
Okay.
Should I start over? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay,
Um, but we can end this and then we can just dive right back in and try again.
that's
Like we
fine.
don't
Whatever, it's fine. I could just
because
pick
I
up.
can always I can export this and I can clip.
That's fine. I'll just
Okay.
I'll just start my sentence over again.
And if we have to, we'll just do this again sometime.
No worries. I'm always available for
Yeah.
interviews.
But yeah,
So
start over.
So the scariness of the everyday, I still have that. And along the way of building my business, and I've pivoted a couple times, I've cried a couple times, more than a couple times probably. You know, is this for me? Should I really be doing this? Maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe I'm not meant for this. This is for other people. Like the limiting thoughts are always there. So the mindset work is a daily thing that I have to kind of focus on, and everybody should, because it's really quick to let everything around you just kind of filter in and give you that negativity, and it spirals, right? So for
Mhm.
me, the most important thing and the biggest thing that I've turned around in my life is waking up early, because I'm not a morning person. So I'm forced, I working still on not hitting the snooze. But for me, it's been a journey to do that. But I've been focusing on that and getting up early so I can have a morning routine. Morning routine is important for me and pretty much everybody, because if you go right into your day after you wake up, like you're kind of just chaotic and everything is thrown at you and you're just acting on emotion. And it's, if you ground yourself in the morning, like I like to do some meditation, I shower, I read some of my book or I listen to my audiobook, then I do some of my, my planning for the day of like, here's how my day is going to go. And I do affirmations. I was never one for affirmations. I thought they were like frou frou and like this is something that only magicians like talk about. But like or gypsies or whatever. But
Yeah.
it's so much like it's such a taboo thing, right? We're just taught that that's like not the way to live, like to go off of, we were never taught positive affirmations. And back in the day when self-help books were out, which now we call personal development books, it was like, ooh, she's in the self-help aisle, like she must have some issues. So but I've learned to embrace it and teach other people that when you work on yourself and you develop yourself and you do the affirmations, that's what's really going to ground you for the day. And I'll tell you a secret: walking into my job, which sucks the life out of me, to be honest with you, my regular job, that is. But so that's what I'm working on, transitioning, working from home full time. But when I'm there, it can be a very negative, draining place. And I know that that's the toxicity that is part of what's kind of entering my life. So before I go in, I just kind of give myself those affirmations of like, okay, you're gonna have a great day. No matter what anybody says or what comes at you, you're gonna persist through it. You are not gonna let any negativity bring you down. You are going to have a great day. Like I just keep repeating positive things to myself about how my mindset is going to be rock solid and I am going to have a great day regardless of what's happening around me. Because for so long I would stress out about everything, especially the things that I couldn't control.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing that people don't realize, and I didn't for the longest time, is like you can't control it. So you're either going to be upset while it's happening or you're going to be happy while it's happening. You get to choose how you react to it. So for me, it's a big thing to set my day in the morning.
I love that, and I'm with you. I'm not a morning person. I
Yeah.
do some meditation in the morning. I'll usually do like some affirmations, like while I'm in the shower. But a lot of my productivity happens at night, and so for a long time, I really tried to be a morning person,
Same.
but I'm just not. And so I kind of, and I decided to give myself some grace and be like, okay, it's all right if I only have enough extra time in the morning to do a 5 minute meditation. And that's good enough. Like that's okay. But doing something like absolutely anything, no matter how, if it's 1 minute long, whatever it is, if it's pouring into you and it's making you feel better and it's helping you start your day with like a sense of gratitude and excitement, do it. Like that's the thing with having morning routines is some people don't do them because they think, well, I don't have an extra hour in the morning. You don't need an extra hour.
5 minutes, 10 minutes, just
Yeah.
something to clear your thoughts and let some positivity enter your brain. And
Hmm.
I find that, I have a 3-year-old. So as soon as she wakes up, like it's over. So if I wake up at the same time she does, it's just chaos and I can't have a mental minute to myself. And that's a lot
Yeah.
of times when you go to work, that's what happens too. Like it just spirals. So having that grounding of some sort, even like on the way to work, I have an hour and a half to 2 hour commute every day. So I'm listening to trainings, podcasts, audiobooks, like even if it's just 5 minutes of hearing someone speak positive affirmations or talk about self-development, it's just really amazing what your brain picks up and ingrains in you just by hearing it in the background sometimes. So if you're
Yeah.
you're doing laundry and you're listening to affirmations, even though you're not fully paying attention, it's on in the background, kind of, filtering into your subconscious.
Well, and that's like one of the best ways to reprogram your brain is yes, you have to do the work yourself, but you can utilize all of these sort of empty spaces throughout your day and you can fill them with audiobooks, affirmations, like some sort of podcast. You can fill those empty spaces with something that creates intention without you actually having to do any work, really. Like I do that
Exactly.
while I'm in the shower. I'll usually put on an audiobook of like Louise Hay or Wayne Dyer or
Right.
something. And it's just like, I want that kind of encouragement so my
Mhm.
brain can start functioning and thinking in those ways because sometimes it's hard for me to muster up the thoughts myself. Like I need to hear it from somebody
Yeah,
else first
sometimes it's like I
so
feel
then I can be
lost
like,
and I
okay.
need somebody to tell me what to do today.
Yeah, yeah, and that's okay. Like we're
Yeah,
not you don't have to be in charge of everything all day long. It's okay to like
right.
accept help
Exactly.
from
True.
any
And that was
source.
hard for me for a long time too. And what's funny is we talk about what you're filling your brain with. I didn't realize how much TV was affecting me. Like I used to love watching like Real Housewives and like all that drama because it's like somebody else's life. And then I started feel I and awareness is everything. Like when you're doing things, like start paying attention to like how you're feeling in the moment of what's going on. Start paying attention to how you react to things or how you behave when you feel jealous, why it comes up. Like you'll be able to trace it back to what's going on. And so during these shows, I would have an extreme sense of anxiety. And like, I would be like, I want that life. Like, I wish I had that much money, like, so there's jealousy in a certain aspect because they're making it look so glamorous about the life that they're living, and the things that they have and what they do. But also in another sense, there's drama and gossip and craziness and negativity going on. So it's like all of it mixed together is like filtering crap into my brain. And
Yeah.
so I was finding that I was having anxiety during watching television shows that I thought I enjoyed. And I was like, I
Hmm.
need to cut that out of my life. And I can't, it's okay for me to not watch things that upset me because then it makes me in a negative space. So one time I even had to tell my husband, like, I cannot watch The Walking Dead anymore. I love you. And you can watch it by yourself, but every time afterwards, I get really sad because people die, and it just like,
Yeah.
makes me feel uncomfortable. And I respect my feelings, and I love you, but if you respect my feelings, you'll understand that too. And I just can't watch things that upset me like that because
Yeah.
I don't have to. I'd rather be
Right.
positive.
And then that's like I don't know, this is a really good metaphor for just life in general, that something as simple as television that is part of pretty much everybody's everyday life, like you can start there. Like if you're thinking that changing your mindset is sounds like a lot of work, start with something like television. Start with making intentional effort and becoming more aware of, like Jessica said, how you're feeling when you watch something. Like I stopped watching the news probably 20 years ago, and I did that on
Yeah,
purpose. And
I don't
people
ever
thought
watch the
I
news.
was nuts. They were like, you're just oblivious to life and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, if I want to be informed, I will reach out to the internet and I
Right.
will find something that speaks to me. But until then, I'm not going to watch it. It makes me feel
Right.
stressed, anxious, sad, all the things. Why would I put
Everything is
myself in that?
negative. Right.
Yeah.
Everything is just it brings all the negative stories into one platform in an hour, and you're just like bombarded with the wars and the people dying and the shootings, and it's just like constant, constant, constant. And I know that's what's going on in the world, so we should be aware of it. But I don't think filling your mind constantly with negative things is good for you to live an enjoyable life.
Yeah.
So you should be somewhat informed on what's going on in the world, but I don't think you need to pay attention to every single little thing that's on the news, because then that filters negativity and you're just like, well, this world sucks. And
Right.
you know, like I wake up every day and go like, I love life. I love what I do. And I never was like that. And
Yeah.
so to be able to feel that way and experience that and try and just gift that to other people is really my mission.
Yeah. Same. Same. And
Yeah,
that's exactly why we're having conversations like this. I love it.
exactly.
So when did you realize that you were ready to make a change to, getting into high performance coaching and all of that? Like, why now?
Well, I've always wanted to be a psychiatrist or a psychologist or something in that realm. I'm a really good listener. I love analyzing things. I've always self-analyzed myself and consider myself, very self-aware now more than ever because of all the self-development and mindset work I've been doing. But I just think that for me, what I used to live was the retail life, and I was only as successful as how much I produced,
Yes.
right? We're taught that like, oh, you don't go home until you make plan. Even if you work 10 hours, even if you work 6 days a week, 7 days a week, like you don't go home until you make the plan. And it's like, why am I living in that space where I'm always stressed out? You're only as good as your last sale. So it's like, what have you done for me lately? And like, you could have been an amazing performer, but you had a bad day. And it's like always a constant, you know, feeling of like I'm never good enough. And people want more, 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 more. So it's always, I was not working out. I have no time to take care of myself. At one point in my career, I was running on Skittles and Red Bull because it was like midnight madness, and I was working in an outlet and we were crazy with like 400 people in the store, and I was just running all over the place.
Oh
So I've always
gosh.
been in management and had that high, I've always wanted more for myself and had that like high energy and high responsibility. But I was always like, I need to multitask. I need to do multiple things at a time. I need to just produce, produce, produce. And just was like winding me up, like overweight, unhealthy, always tired, miserable, negative. And I was just like, I'm tired of living like that. Like, I want to teach women you don't have to multitask. That's actually the way to
Yes.
not get work done, is
Yeah.
to multitask. Okay. So I want to teach women you don't have to kill yourself at work. You can have a life. You can enjoy your life. You can set boundaries for yourself. Ever since I started speaking up for myself and asking for what I wanted at work, like I learned that years ago, and I teach people every day in my own space. Ask for what you want. If you don't say something, you're not going to get it. Don't feel bad for asking. You should feel bad for not asking because you're
Mhm.
you're limiting yourself. I just feel like people just go through the motions in life, and they're like
Yeah.
super stressed out, and then it goes into their home life where I was finding myself snappy at my daughter, and I was just like, why am I should, this is life. My dad used to tell me life is what happens when you leave work. So I always kind of like held on to that too. And I'm like, why am I finding myself snapping at my daughter or thinking about work while I'm sitting and playing with her and not really enjoying her because this moment is fleeting. So I really want to teach people like stop being in the craziness, stop pushing yourself beyond your limits, exhausting yourself. Like a lot of the like tiredness is self-induced and a lot of the stress is
Yes.
most of the stress is self-induced. So coming from a super unhealthy place into now a healthy place where I set boundaries, I ask for what I want. I don't do anything I don't want to do just because it serves other people, like really just living for me. And I think that, that's important to teach everybody.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, you're speaking right to me. I know you're speaking to a lot of other people right now too. Like, this is so good because I, especially as women, we feel this um, obligation
Yes.
to multitask, to be everything for everybody. And no, we don't need to do that. Like you said, when you're multitasking, you're actually getting less done. You're creating way more stress for yourself. And why are we living this way? Just because there's been this sense of like achievement placed on being the busiest woman alive. Like,
Right. Right.
can we please change the story?
Right.
Can we
Exactly.
set
And it's like,
boundaries? Can we
right.
do things that actually help us feel amazing so we can then take care of our families in a
Right.
much better way?
Can we not define ourselves by our job? Can we not define ourselves by how productive we are or how many hours we work? Can we define
Mhm.
ourselves as who we want to be and who we want to show up and impact in the world, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think when we make that shift to recognizing, okay, was today a good day or a bad day? And that's not based on any exterior forces of any
Yeah.
kind. You make that choice on how do I feel inside? Was today a good day or a bad day? Because how was my energy? Was I happy? Did I connect with somebody? Like
How
when
did
we
I react
start,
to situations that
yeah,
could have been really disastrous, you know?
right. Yeah. Was I allowing this, one moment in time to be life altering, or can I just move past it? Like,
Mhm.
we make those choices. And yeah, it really all comes down to awareness and intention and making choice. Like, you have the power for all of it. And I, I wrote an email just the other day, actually, and I started it with like, if there was an ingredient in a recipe that you didn't like, would you take it out or change it? Yes,
Yeah,
everybody answers
I
yes to
would.
that, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. You wouldn't just be like, oh, I don't like dates. So I'm not, I
Right.
hate dates, but I'm going to go ahead and put dates in the recipe.
Right. Let me
Nobody
suck
would
it up
do
and deal
that.
with it. Right.
Yeah, nobody would do that. So it's like, why don't we do that in our real life? Why don't we make that decision to say, this isn't for me? I'm going to go ahead and take that out.
That's a great analogy, really, though. Like, yeah, let me substitute something in for something that doesn't serve me. And
Yeah.
I used to find myself saying yes to so many things. Like people would want to hang out and I would be like, I don't really feel like going to that place. Oh, please. I'm like, all right, fine. And I would already, before I even left the house, have this like negative, like, okay, like I'm not gonna have fun. I'm gonna be bored. Like I'm just going to go. I'll get through it. It'll be just a couple hours. I'm like, why am I spending precious time doing things I don't want to do just because other people want me to? Like that serves them, not
Mhm.
me. And I'm all about serving each other and having a mutually,
Yeah.
beneficial relationship and having a good time. But if there's something I really don't want to do, I don't do it.
Well, and I think that's a really healthy boundary to set is, and when you say mutually beneficial relationship, that's something like my husband and I, we've been together for 16 years now. And sometimes people meet us for the first time and they think that we're newly in a
Newlyweds.
relationship together. And they find out, 16 years and they're like, whoa, like what's the secret here? I'm like, we have a mutually beneficial relationship. We
Yes.
ensure that each other, has a happy life outside of just what we can provide to them. Like we want each other to have a happy life and to
Right.
feel fulfilled, and I think that's really important. And I don't seek and find my happiness from him only and vice
Right.
versa. And I think that, people do that with their jobs, their relationships, and they place all this pressure on some sort of exterior thing. And it's just take back the control. You're
Yes.
the
Or
one who has the power.
they blame circumstances like, oh, I
Yeah.
didn't do that because my husband this or because this person that. And
Mhm.
instead of just being like, you know what, I'm going to take responsibility for that. That was my bad. Like that was my choice to do
Yeah.
it or not to do it. It's not on anybody else. If it didn't get done, it's on me, you know?
Yeah. So I wanted to wrap us up with like, tell me a little bit about launching your coaching program and what that looks like, because I'm super excited to see how this grows and evolves.
Thank you. Me too. It's kind of like a labor of love. It's been a long time in the works, but it's going to launch next month. I'm going to have a master class in my private Facebook group. So if anybody wants to join that, it is called Discover Your Glow. And
I'll be sure to drop the link in the
Sarah's
show
going to
notes
put,
for you
yeah,
guys.
I was gonna say the links will be attached, but and so I'm gonna do a masterclass there, but it's going to be an 8 week or an 8 session program. So whoever signs up for the coaching will get an 8 session program, and we'll kind of go through a progression of assessing where you're currently at, and kind of figuring out like what are the biggest stressors in your life and how can we minimize those. How can we organize your schedule and your priorities, and manage your time better? Because there's people that are just like, I don't have time for that. I'm one of the biggest people. I'm like, oh, I don't have time. Yes, I do. There's plenty of time I'm scrolling on my phone. And so when you pay attention and you become aware and you become accountable to those things, it's kind of right in your face. So I think it's so important for everybody to have a coach or someone that holds them accountable in that way. So it'll be 8 sessions, and we'll go through the progression of figuring out what are your stressors and how do we set you up with goals that are going to get you to where you want to be in life and help you drop the stress, maximize your productivity, but not have to work extra hours or give up family life or going to parties or celebrating anniversaries. Because for the longest time, I had to miss birthday parties for work, and I missed out
Mhm.
on a lot of life events because I let work get in the way. So I just want to, kind of walk everybody through what their life could look like and help them achieve their vision of what they want in life if they could have it in a perfect world.
Yeah. I love that. And really, that is so important. It's really, really important to have some sort of unbiased outside person help you take a bird's eye view of your life and sort of restructure it and help you recognize all of these pockets of time that you have and how you can truly maximize on that time there and create, like, make your goals a reality. Don't
That's
just
how
put
we
them
got
down on
here,
paper.
right? That's what we did.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's, one of the best aspects of coaching is the accountability and having somebody that has walked that path before you, more than likely in the very, very recent past. Like it's
Mhm.
fresh on their mind. They know exactly all the obstacles and roadblocks and how to get around them, be the most efficient. Like anybody can get and achieve anything on their own, like if they have the willpower to do so and then the intention. But when you hire a coach and you decide that this is what you want for yourself, you're going to get there so much faster. And that's what's so exciting about it.
Yeah, that's what when I first started, I was just like, well, I could spend years trying to build my business, or I could invest in a coaching program and not have to Google everything
Yeah.
or try and figure out what books to read or how to do Canva, like,
Yeah.
so, the self-development piece is huge because people are just, I'll hear people say like, oh, I need to lose weight, but I'm not in the right mindset yet. When I get in the right mindset, then I'll try a diet program. And I'm like, it doesn't work like that. You have to take action. You have to decide. Don't worry about the how. Just make the decision that you want to do it, and the how will come together. But getting someone in your corner to walk you through the steps and to hold you accountable and hold your feet to the fire, that's where the magic happens, honestly.
100%. That's exactly why I decided to level up my coaching last September. Was I was having the conversation with my husband because we were not in person and I was about to invest a lot of money. And he was like, why are you doing this? I said, because I have a very clear vision of what I want for my life and I want to get there as fast as possible. So I am going to hire somebody to help me do that because I know I can do it myself, but I know that I'm going to have so many questions and insecurities and roadblocks along the way. I want someone that I can turn to and say, hey, how do I handle this?
Mhm.
How do I go through this next step? And having that is just
And
no
someone to
amount of
push
money
you
can.
forward when you feel like, I can't do this anymore, or should I
Mm-hmm.
quit? Having that person to be like, no, stand back up. You're
Yep.
going to do this.
Yeah. Yeah. I absolutely love it. I mean, come on, you guys. Don't you want a woman in your life like Jessica? Like, I do.
Thank you.
And I'm
Oh,
so grateful that I
I
do.
was
Like,
going to
we're
say, I'm so
business
happy we're
besties now.
friends.
So, when you're maximizing things and you want to get all this stuff done but reduce stress, Jessica's your girl. All right. So you guys go head over to the show notes, grab your maximum productivity guide. This is something free that she is offering to you. This is a way you can really.
No.
Okay. Cut. We're going to try that one more time.
Okay.
Um, so head over to the show notes and grab your maximum productivity guide to find the best ways to achieve high performance results. This is something that Jessica is giving to you guys for free. And this is a fantastic way to get started and to connect with Miss Jessica Perry. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you
I'm
for
so
having me. This
grateful.
was fun.
All right. We'll talk soon.
Bye.
That was so much fun. I hope you found this episode helpful. If you want to get a shout out or maybe even inspire a fellow entrepreneur, go ahead and take a screenshot of yourself listening to this episode and tag us in your stories at Social Jane Media. Positive by Design is brought to you by Sarah Glenn, CEO of Social Jane Media, the branding and business coaching agency that teaches you how to discover your authentic brand, lead with value, and build the business you desire. If you're ready for more, head over to the Social Jane community. Link is in the show notes. I'll see you inside.